Hi students, welcome to week 2 of REL 202, Religion and Popular Culture. We are going to be reading the second half of Drawn to the Gods, David Feltmate's exciting book. I hope you're having as much fun with it as I am and with the materials. So Feltmate wants to think about how religion is depicted as sort of a necessary component in American culture, American identity. So I would like us to be thinking about, what requirements are there made of Americans to ascribe to some kind of religious faith, and what does that ideal religious citizen body look like, and what religion are we talking about? So Feltmate's going to be complicating Christianity for us, which I think is great. So we'll be thinking about Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxies, but he's also going to take us through the way different forms of Protestantism and new religious movements, and to get a little bit into Judaism and Islam. But for the most part, we're going to be looking at Christianity this week. And so there are certain things I'd like you to be paying attention to as we go through. In The Simpsons, we get these different and contentious ideas about God and about the Trinity, about the different pieces and roles that God and Jesus are playing. And one critique sometimes is, which is kind of funny, to critique how cartoons are portraying incoherent conceptions of theology, when these guys are not theologians, and they aren't trying to be. They are critiquing just everyday culture. They're critiquing what they see around them, and they're riffing on stereotypes and understandings, and bringing their own ideas to the table. So we have this idea of God the Father, who is on the one hand benevolent, and we can maybe ask for things, and maybe he'll grant them, but on the other hand, as Marge says, he might get pissed off and he might smite you, so watch out. And then we get Jesus, and Jesus, well, he's kind of can be hippie, chow, Jesus, pretty laid back. He is not Old Testament God the Father, but he's also a mediator. He's got that human experience, and so he's able to understand and move among us in a particular way. And even hosting a talk show on South Park, Jesus and Friends. So Feltmate says, he's kind of like God incarnate who just wants to be loved. There's an episode of Family Guy in which Peter goes to a record shop and runs into Jesus, and he recognizes him, and he's like, oh no, it's the second coming. Like, he kind of freaks out. And Jesus is like, no, it's okay. I just come down every 100 years to see how things are going. Just, kind of maybe misses his experiences on earth, and, just wants to be human again for a little bit. So he comes down, and so Peter's like, wow, that's fantastic. You want to come to dinner? And so, Peter invites Jesus to dinner. Jesus accepts. And pretty soon, Jesus is drawn into this contemporary world, and he's kind of like a rock star, and so he gets himself into some trouble with overindulging in all manner of things, and has big regrets the next morning. And Peter's like, man, but Jesus says, well, I am obviously not mature enough for this world in these times, and so he's going to go back and mature a while before he comes back which I think is very provocative, saying, even Jesus, doesn't really know how to deal with these times, with modernity. So there's also this tension that the shows play with about the religion of Jesus and the religion about Jesus. And that's something I want you to think about as you're doing the reading, and also any videos of the episodes that you happen to watch this week. Also be looking out for the symbolic authority of the book, the Bible, how that's deployed. And then you might also pay attention to the way missionizing and missionary work is implicated in the shows, and Feltmate will take you through that. But what does it mean for missionary work to be transactional? So, God's being offered, religion's being offered, but more than that, possibly food's being offered in trade for an acceptance of Jesus or of the particular religion. Food, hospitals, schools, clean water, a particular kind of community buy-in, and what do we think about that? How do you feel about that? Also shame-based Christianity and how that gets deployed against particular groups that the missionaries might be interested in bringing into the fold. Also televangelists, and we also find teleevangelism in other religions. You can find it in Southeast Asia, as Dakwatainment, Dakwa entertainment. We're going to talk a little bit about censorship and the authority, the authorizing power of Christianity, and how that gets deployed in ways that might want to shut down speech, might want to shut down access to reproductive health, that might want to get up in people's business and say, we have the answer and here's what the answer looks like. And you will find that these three shows all push back against that, because there's that strand of individualism and personal choice, and a real pushback against authoritarianism that comes out of any kind of religious formation and wants to be imprinted on other people. It's like, okay, it's fine, you can do what you want. However, don't cross the line to use those beliefs as authorization or coalesce power to draw rules for people who might not share that religious view. So I think I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm really looking forward to this week, and you'll be, looking at a PowerPoint, watching this video, I hope, doing your reading, the second half of the book. You will have another discussion board this week, and I'll get that up for you to post. And remember to respond to a classmate. Be sure that you've purchased your book or get it from the library, borrow it from a friend, but make sure you have access to the materials, because we're going to start that second book next week. So the first book was fast, but it's a fun read, and I think it's a fairly approachable text. The second book, I will warn you, is going to be a little more challenging, but we're going to do it together, and it's going to be fine. And I think you're going to enjoy it and really learn from it. So, okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.